Hi there, my name's Jacob, and I'd like you to come for a walk with me. Um, I like to walk down areas like this when I like to get some thinking done. And it's a lovely, dewy September day. Um, yeah, I guess the biggest thing on my mind recently, I've been trying to work out two different forms of pragmatism that I think I can see. Um, One in the Analects of Confucius, and it really comes out in the interpretations of Confucian thought. But I like to, I'm fixated on one Analect, and then the type of pragmatism that emerges over Machiavelli's three works, probably most famously summarized in The Prince. In the Confucian case, I can imagine this sort of internalized pragmatism. The quotation I'm thinking of is, and my ancient Chinese is not very good, uh, um, so forgive me if I mistranslate here, but roughly the master said that should people be ruled with fear and punishment, they will become dishonest and selfish. And should they be ruled by example and disciplined with ritual, they will become generous and honest. Um, and there is a extraction from human reaction happening there. There's a very optimistic view of virtue. Confucius and Machiavelli are both functionally virtue ethicists, which is why it's interesting that both of them become sort of these pragmatic virtue ethicists and end up going in very opposite directions. For Confucius, the generous, humane spirit of the leader is essential to the development of a prosperous society. For Machiavelli, there's a section late in The Prince, and lucky for me, Machiavelli was secondarily published not in medieval Italian, but in Latin. That I can read really well. There is a quotation late in The Prince where he talks about the dispersing of benefits, where he says that all benefits must be meted out in small pieces over time, whereas punishments should only be done all at once and at the beginning, because it takes a long time for people to forget their grievances, but a short time for them to forget their benefits. There's a sort of pessimistic idea of public virtue there. It is, he has that concept of virtu, or in Latin, virtus, and it's focused on in the he makes sort of two opposite cases, one for monarchy and one for republicanism, but both cases are fixated on the internalized virtue of the prince, which is not just being good and humane, not just being an example, but the ability to sense one's situation and respond to it in a calculated manner. There's a descriptive element to Machiavellian pragmatism, which Confucius, with his sort of fixation on the example of the Duke of Zhou, uh, stands in direct opposition to. Not that Confucian governance is impractical. It simply has a distinct idea of the direction of pragmatism. I'm trying to figure out exactly how to describe this, because both the Machiavellian and the Confucian concept of leadership lead to the conclusion that I think Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore said this, that leadership is recognizing your situation, and I see that being approached in both of these cases, but resulting in a very different affective disposition towards people. And I believe that means that there are two traditions of pragmatism here that can be compared and contrasted. But I'm not sure that it's really a vision of public virtue versus individual virtue, which I think would be sort of the orthodox approach to it. Rather, there's an orientation towards perfection and education that emerges in the rest of the works that would seem consonant, that I think really can get at our difference here. Neither Confucius, with his sort of the phoenix does not appear and the river does not offer up its chart, intellect, and Machiavelli with his sort of diatribe on the value of history. They both arrive at the idea that that being worthy of leadership is an uncertain quality, that it can never be attained fully, but that education can develop it. And what it gets down to is Machiavelli sees aptitude. He sees aptitude and cultivation as distinct. Whereas for Confucius, there is no quality which cannot be developed, if that makes sense. The shortcomings of Confucius's disciples, however harshly he chastises them, he's chastising them because they can improve. Machiavelli consigns to the dustbin of history those Republican leaders and those monarchs who just didn't have the juice, if you will. So I've been kicking around that idea from my attempts to get as close as I can to the original in reading these texts, and I figure this is a thought that rhymes with the Schwarzman Scholarship's interest in leadership qualities. And it always helps to get an idea articulated out in nature. And I'm glad that you joined me for this little walk. Have a good day.